Several of our high schools have student section social media accounts where they post from the football game or the basketball game, come join the student section. And that's just to create school unity. And it's a great way for maybe your freshman in high school or maybe a seventh grader who doesn't know where they fit in the school to come to those student sections and be a part of the school. That's a very positive way that some of our students have used social media.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Ernst. I'm the superintendent of Tooele County School District located in Tooele County, Utah. We have 27 schools and just over 15,000 students in our school district.
Doctor, it's so great to have you here today. What I mostly want to have you today speak on is some of your wisdom, some of your ideas, some of your best practices on how other districts can learn how to engage parents, protect students, how we can navigate the digital world that are these devices that every kid seems to get younger and younger. I'm really honored to have you here today. I want to dive in, Superintendent, into the first question. I'd like to talk a little bit about your district. What's your biggest accomplishment as a district over the past 1 to 4 years?
I think our biggest accomplishment is really coming up with a strategic model that helps drive what we do in our schools. We created a strategic model by involving our teachers, our administrators, some of our parents, and everything we do as a school system funnels through that model. If we want to be a great school district, there are certain things we have to do. And our strategic model helps us know what those things are we must succeed in order to provide our students with a great education.
Can you talk to us about that model? Can you give us a little more insight into that?
Our model has 5 different areas of it, and it's all encompassing of a school district. Teachers, students, communications and culture, safety, and then operations, finances, how we run the school district. What we try to do is anytime there's a new initiative or anything we're thinking, hey, let's do this, we say, okay, does that fit into our model? Is that something we need to be able to do, or is it just something that sounds great? We want stuff that's going to have lasting impacts. So our model doesn't change from year to year. Our plan in how we implement the model does, but that model, that's our guiding document for the foreseeable future for Tooele County School District.
I love that. And we have a phrase over here that we use with organizations called SOS, Shiny Object Syndrome. Does it fit into our model, or is it just a neat thing? Like, okay, how about we set aside some of the shiny and move into that model? I love how you're staying focused on where we need to go. Superintendent, I'm so excited about that model and how you are strategically saying, where do we want to go? What advice do you have for other school districts to deal with a possible social media issue they might have that may originate on a social media app that the students are using, but then creates a very real problem physically on their campus?
I think social media, it's a great thing and also can be not a great thing. And when things originate on the campus, one thing we need to do with our students is help them understand what it means to be good social media citizens. Just like we want them to be good citizens in the classroom, we also want them to be good citizens on social media platforms. So that's one of the first things we want to do is engage them and say, social media is a good tool. Let's learn how to use it properly. And then from there, when problems arise, we can always revert back to, remember when we talked about being a good social media citizen? Was this that? And make that a learning opportunity for the students.
I think this is the hottest topic nationwide, right? And so I love that. You essentially said, how do we teach them the right way to do it? I'd like to double click on this and get your feedback on it. We believe starting off with teaching the kids how to drive the vehicle correctly. We call this a Ferrari, these devices, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
200-mile-an-hour vehicle. Here you go, kids at 12, 13, 14, maybe even 10 years old. And what are the kids doing? They're doing donuts in the driveway because they don't know how to drive correctly. And you and I would do that too if we were young. My mom gave me a Ferrari. I'm going to go have fun. I don't know what it's used for, what the proper use is. So I love how you just said, how do we get this vehicle from point A to point B to get us to work and back home? How do we use this responsibly? What would you tell parents with that in mind? What would you tell other districts about what's something that you think we could teach that is positive use case?
For parents, I would say be aware of what your students are doing on social media and have good open conversations about good apps, bad apps, good use, bad use. That way they know that it's okay. And if they make a mistake and download the wrong app, well, let's talk about why that's not good. For our teachers, there are ways you can use social media in the classroom, especially at the high school level when you have the football game coming up this fall or a play, an orchestra concert. How do we promote that on social media? How do we take pictures of it and post that? So you can do some stuff with the social media to say, here's a good use of it. And then even how do you monitor the comments if you have comments coming in? So a teacher can use social media in the classroom that really has some really good real world application.
I think that's great. Thanks for letting me dive into that. Let's jump back into the next question I have. So we talked a little bit about safety on social media and use case, but I want to get to the positive side of social media. Can you provide some examples of how your students may have used their social media in a positive or productive way that may have benefited themselves or perhaps the community?
I'll tell you, several of our high schools have student section social media accounts where they post from the football game or the basketball game, come join the student section, and they each have their unique little names. And that's just to create school unity. And it's a great way for maybe your freshman in high school or maybe a seventh grader who doesn't know where they fit in the school to come to those student sections and be a part of the school. That's a very positive way that some of our students have used social media.
It's hard in high school or middle school to make friends. So to use social media to say there's a place for me to sit, that's a use case I haven't heard yet. I really like that. I think that's really neat. Have you seen it work pretty well?
I have. A couple years ago, when I was principal at Grantsville High School, our student section was Red Riot. And the Red Riot hashtag was everywhere and just inviting kids into that. It was very successful.
It reminds me of another middle school that I've spoken at on the East Coast. The principal said, our goal at this school is to be the most welcoming school in America. I just love that. And that's kind of what you're doing, is saying you're welcomed in this section of the bleachers in a way, right?
Yeah, and you think about every kid, like you said, has that phone in their hand. And so let's get the message out and welcome into our school through social media. Because a lot of kids, that might be the only way they're ever invited. And so it's a great tool.
My next question, what suggestions do you have for parents to encourage their kids to use technology in a positive way, both in the classroom and at home?
I think the way the parents model social media in the home, the students are going to use it the same way at school and in the home. So if a parent's using social media to troll or to make comments, that's how the student's going to use it. So I think for parents, be open about your social media use. Let your students see, here's what I posted, here's what I responded to someone else's post. As parents set those examples, it teaches proper use of social media.
So well said. And I hope other district leaders who are watching this right now, so important. Modeling, we become, there's that old saying, Superintendent, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So what if we can highlight the best parts of that tree and say, here's the parts I really want you to pick up?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I want to dive into one more question. I think this is a really big question on people's mind. Second most important question of the day. Other district leaders are always thinking, how do we engage parents when it comes to student behavior or issues when we're partnered? What are your suggestions for other school districts to increase parent engagement? And a little bit of a follow-up question there is, are there any specific channels or events you're finding that get the biggest turnout for you?
This is a great question because we want as much parental involvement as we can get. I don't know any principal who ever says, I have too many parents coming to my school to help out. I think for parents, get involved in every little thing. Reading with a kid in first grade pays dividends for years to come. Going to those school events, if you're worried about sending your kid to a school activity, a dance or a basketball game, go for yourself. Check it out. You can go to that dance and stick your head in, see what's going on, and then head home once you know your kid's safe. So get involved in what your kids are involved in, because that just eases your mind as a parent to know that it's okay. Things that we've found great here in Tooele County School District, this time of year as we look at school starting again, each year we do what's called a back to school closet, where we have people who've donated items, have businesses who've donated backpacks, school supplies, clothes, and we invite all of our parents to that to say, come and get what you need. And it's been a great thing. As a matter of fact, we're outgrowing our space. We have to find a new spot for it. We're going to have to go into more locations because it's been so well received by our parents. And I'm excited for that. I just want to keep spreading the word because the more locations, the better. Get parents involved and get to know what's happening in their local school.
So innovative too. That's really cool. Because companies and businesses, especially small business, they want to help the community. It's great. So I want to dive into the hottest question every district's talking about. We're about to dive into that, Superintendent, and here's a preview. It's AI. But before we do that, I want to pause for just a sec. I want to give a shout out and a special thanks to our amazing team at smartsocial.com. You are creating 54 plus live events that 100 plus school districts are using to engage parents on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, how to dialogue with your kids about too much screen time, all these different topics. We have the best 54 plus live remote events that parents ask tons of questions in 3 different languages and translated into 12 other languages. In addition, the team is doing a great job at putting real teens in the program. So teens teaching teens, we get 10 times the engagement because real teens are in the program. And then the last thing we're doing is we have our premium parent newsletter and social media content that we're licensing to the school districts to teach where to click, what to do to lock down a kid's phone. And it's right there on their phone, showing them how to do it. We want to bring everybody information and awareness. Shout out to the incredible team. And thank you to the 100 plus districts that are partnering with us. We're so grateful to keep kids safe so they can shine online. All right, back to the program. Superintendent, let's talk AI, the hottest item in the world right now, especially with school districts and companies and mostly students. How is your school district approaching AI tools like ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, or Claude?
Let me say first off, I love AI. I think it's amazing what it can do. So we're excited to teach our students what it can do. First off, we're trying to educate ourselves. We want to make sure we know what AI can do, both the good and the maybe not so good, but we're also trying to embrace it. We're also trying not to be afraid of AI. And so we're relying heavily upon other school districts or maybe a couple of months ahead of us. But we have an AI task force. Our teaching and learning department is kind of taking this under their wing to say, what does AI look like in the classroom? What does it mean for the students when they're at school and they're at home? And what does it mean for the teacher that they need to grade a project that may have AI help and may not?
What does the next couple years look like on how you're supporting students so they have something incredible as a tool?
You know, there are a lot of AI companies out there that are wanting to help school. And so we're exploring those options right now so that we can give our educators and our students a good tool, like you said, to use. The other thing that we're really trying not to shy away from AI because we know if we just put our head in the sand, it's going to happen. Kids are going to use it. So we're trying to lean in as much as we can so that we know the good of AI. We want to recognize the negative, but we want to focus on the positive that it can create.
What a fair and balanced approach. I think we can all agree. I think in the 80s, Superintendent, there was a study that said if every kid had 2 hours a night of custom tutoring, they would go from a C minus to like a B plus or something like that. And now the Khan Academy guy has come out and said, we now have that. AI used properly is a custom, you can ask it any question. It will not just give you the answer, it'll tutor you. And then you can say, I didn't understand it that way. Relate it to this, relate it to baseball because I understand baseball. I need Pythagorean theorem. Explain like I'm on the baseball diamond. Oh, okay, I can do that. Just absolutely love that.
In one area that I really see this helping is I think of an elementary teacher, maybe a 4th grade teacher who's teaching a subject and there's, 25, 30 kids in the classroom and there's 8 or 9 who are really struggling, that teacher needs to be hands-on and that they can, but the other students, they can go right to that AI. They can interview a kid that in history, interview in quotes, and they can have that conversation and continue learning why the teacher is with those other students. Each student potentially can have their own tutor for exactly the questions that they have. That's remarkable.
And the struggle that they have too.
Yeah.
Because we're all trying to unlock that thing. One of my favorite examples of AI that we've used when we teach lots of parents on stage is I used to work at Disney Studios and Disney brand marketing And what we do is we say, all right, let's AI pretend like you're Walt Disney for the next several questions. You are the inventor of Disneyland, Walt Disney, blah, blah, blah. What is your favorite ride at Disneyland? And then all of a sudden he goes into, well, I wasn't around, but this was the one I wanted while I was alive. And here's why I would have loved it. Here's what, blah, blah, blah. And you can literally dive in and interview Walt Disney. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Absolutely. And it really sounds like him. I'm a huge fan of him and really incredible. Hey, Superintendent, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. This has been great. Really appreciate you having me.
Thank you to everybody else who's watching, whether you're a district leader, you're a parent, or anyone in between. We absolutely adore you here at smartsocial.com, where our motto is, let's teach you how to keep your kids safe on these digital tools that we call social media so they can someday shine online. Our dream at Shine Online is not only showing your kids how to use them in the right way, but we want to make sure we launch them into their first internship, build out that high school resume, get them into the college of their dreams, but also launch them into a future career. We got a plan and it is bright for your family. And speaking of bright, parents and educators, remember whenever we're posting online to keep it light, bright, and polite, like the title of my book says, because your kids are watching. We'll see you all very soon. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.